So let's talk more about the three-way handshake. The three-way handshake is just basically, it runs on TCP. So it is basically connection orientated. It wants to verify that something exists before we form a full adjacency or a full connection or partnership together. So I'm going to draw this out so it makes it nice and easy for us to understand on how it works, and we can take a look later on how it breaks systems down as well. So let's just say this is us over here. This is a laptop. And we have a laptop here. And then let's say over here we have a server. And this is a big server. And we want to connect to this server and we want to access our emails. We want to access web browsing. We want to, just access that server. There might be some resources on there. Who knows? So typically what would happen is case one, I would send out a SYN request. Okay. So number one is SYN. I will say, hey, server, I want to connect with you. Okay. Then the server will respond back to me saying, hey, Mr. Laptop, guess what? I got your connection request and also I acknowledged it. And I want to sort of connect with you as well, if you want to connect with me, right? So it's a bit of that dynamic relationship. So, hey, I want to connect with you. And then he'll respond back saying, hey, I'll connect with you if you want to connect with me. And then finally, I will say, yes, sir, I absolutely want to connect with you. And that's called an acknowledgement. So I'm going to send an acknowledgement back and saying, hey, guess what? I received your request coming back to me that you want to connect with me as well. And I know that you received my request. Therefore, I want to connect with you as well. And now essentially we have a full connection between the server and the laptop. And now I can access my emails. I can browse the web. I can access resources. And essentially that's almost bang my foot on the table. And that's essentially the three-way handshake, on a full three-way handshake on basically exchanging information on a network. So what happens if we start performing out of the ordinary? What do I mean by that? Now, this is the normal way of exchanging information. So normal way would be, I would send out a request. Normal way, he will send out a SYN request, SYN acknowledgement. I'll accept that. And then we form an adjacency at number 3. Now, if I'm an attacker, what happens if I send out an acknowledgement? Right? So I've got a laptop here. I don't want to send out a SYN. I don't want to send out a SYN ACK. I don't want to receive that. I'm just going to send straight an acknowledgement to this server. So in order to be an ethical hacker or a penetration tester or a hacker in general, you basically want to test devices outside the normal capabilities. So we want to know how a particular device or a network or a server will respond to something not using the traditional sense. So if we don't follow this scenario, I want to send an acknowledgement. I want to see how that server will respond back to me. Will it send me a request? Will it say, I don't know what you're talking about, and drop the packet? We don't know what's going to happen. So in order for us, what we need to do is then think outside the box, right? And later on, we'll talk more about on how to do these types of attacks. And there's more to it than it's basically doing an idle scan and basically doing what we call probing a zombie. And that's basically, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but what that basically means is using other hosts and spoofing their TCP requests and launching the attacks to other servers or to other targets as well. So we'll talk more about that a bit later. I don't want to confuse you guys too much. However, what we want to do as penetration testers or ethical hackers is we want to work outside the normal operations of how a computer works and operates. Okay, so we want to say how devices respond. Each device might respond different, whether this is a Linux box, or it might be a Windows box, or whatever the case may be. Each device will respond different, and we want to know how it responds and what scenario and what we're going to do from there as well. Next is basically once we've finished a three-way handshake, it's basically what we call a gentle close. And what this means is once I've finished my three-way handshake and I'm done exchanging information with my buddy over here, the server, what's going to happen is a few things. So if I've got a server here and I've got the laptop here, what's going to happen, I'm going to send out a request, and that request is basically saying, hey, guess what? I've finished. I don't need you anymore. And I'm going to say, look, I want to start, getting rid of our relationship. I don't like to be with you anymore. I'm sort of done what I've done, and I'm happy with everything that I have. And now I want to, just go our own way, for example. It's a bit like a relationship, right? So we send out a FINAC, and that's basically finalizing our request saying, look, we're done connecting with each other. And I'm acknowledging, saying, look, I really want to tear down our connection. What would happen from there? The server will then respond back to me with 2 requests. He will say then, great. He will acknowledge that, and he will say, cool. If you're done being my friend, or if you're done being my girlfriend or my boyfriend, then I'm done with you too. I don't like you anymore, and I want to tear down this connection as well. So then he will send 1 request saying, hey, I'm going to acknowledge that you have sent me a request that you want to finalize and close this session. Next, I'm going to terminate our session as well. And I want to know that you've received my session, that you want to terminate our connection together, and then we can both go our own separate ways. So that's what's going to happen. He's going to send 1 request saying, great, I've acknowledged that. And 2B, he's going to send me back basically what we call a finalized act. So he's going to say, yep, I've verified that. I don't want to be your friend anymore. I don't love you anymore. And I'm going to send back saying, thank you very much for a great time. It was great knowing you. And I'm going to acknowledge that. And that's basically the flow of traffic on how to close basically a TCP session, right? So once we're done, we've accessed our web requests, we've accessed our emails, we've accessed all our resources that we needed from this server. And now we've closed everything out. And these are the steps that it's going to go through in order to fully close off our adjacency and our relationship together. Okay, guys, stay tuned. There's a few more videos on this series. Next, we're going to talk more about packet firewalls, packet inspections on firewalls, stateful packet filtering, unfiltering packets. Stay tuned. It's going to be so much fun, guys. I'll see you guys very soon again. Hang tight, and we'll continue this series in just a moment.